See the hidden detail of Selena Gomez's wedding dress, which featured a special tribute to Benny Blanco on their wedding day. Selena Gomez showed Benny Blanco a great deal of respect. Fans noticed a unique homage to the 37-year-old producer wearing one of Gomez's 3 Ralph Lauren gowns after the 33-year-old multi-hyphenate shared more images from their wedding day on Instagram on Tuesday, September 30th. A close-up of Gomez's lace halter neck dress, which has a heart embroidered with the couple's initials, was one of the pictures she posted. The dress, which has 300 hand-shaped and attached lace flowers and crystal accents on a hand-painted corset, also bears a wedding date, according to Ralph Lauren. Posing in a lace dress under a covered canopy, Gomez was beaming from ear to ear. She and her new husband were seen heading down the aisle in another picture. In a mirror image of himself and the bride, Blanco also decided to showcase the ensemble on his Instagram site, stating, "I married a real-life Disney princess." Gomez chose a halter-neck gown with a low back and a modest train for her other garment, and she had a bouquet made of lilies of the valley. According to Ralph Lauren, the dress was composed of double-faced silk satin, with a halter neckline accentuated with hand-cut lace and a macrame collar and cascaded hand-draped panels. For the reception, the star of Only Murders in the Building changed into a shorter dress with hand-pleated and sewn panels of linen, silk, and cotton voiles that created a flowing, sophisticated silhouette. A person close to the couple tells People about the wedding, "There was so much love in the room. Everyone was having a great time and celebrating them late into the night at the reception. The atmosphere was a lot of fun." According to the source, Gomez and Blanco wrote their own vows, which were both amusing and Steve Martin, Martin Short, Edgar Ramirez, Zoe Saldana, Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, Paris Hilton, SZA, Camila Cabello, Cara Delevingne, Eric Andre, and Phineas were among the famous guests. Selena Gomez's wedding to Benny Blanco stands as one of those rare celebrity events that transcends fame and enters the realm of emotional storytelling. What unfolded in her lace-stitched Ralph Lauren gown was not merely a ceremony of vows, but a visual poem of vulnerability, resilience, and authenticity. For fans who have followed her through heartbreaks, health battles, creative rebirths, and spiritual rediscovery, this wedding was more than a happy ending. It was a narrative closure and a luminous new beginning. The gown itself, a Ralph Lauren masterpiece, became the physical manifestation of this emotional journey. Every inch of the dress seemed to whisper fragments of Gomez's life story. The hand-shaped lace flowers representing fragility and endurance, the hand-painted corset symbolizing the artistic control she has reclaimed over her image, and the tiny embroidered heart holding her and Benny's initials, a private tribute visible only upon close inspection. In a world of constant visibility, that hidden detail felt revolutionary. It reminded us that even under global attention, Selena remains someone who values quiet meaning over spectacle. That balance between public artifice and private authenticity defined the entire wedding aesthetic. The decision to collaborate with Ralph Lauren, a designer synonymous with American elegance and timeless romance, was deliberate. It aligned Gomez's emotional narrative with a brand that values storytelling through craftsmanship. The gown's 300 lace flowers were not just embellishments. They were symbols of care, intention, and patience, virtues essential in both love and artistry. The addition of the wedding date and initials embroidered inside was a romantic secret, a coded language of intimacy that fans later discovered and celebrated online. But beyond the lace and crystals lay something even more powerful, a woman's evolution. For years, Selena Gomez's public persona has been inseparable from her struggles, her battles with lupus, her openness about mental health, her very public heartbreaks, and her quest for self-love amid fame's noise. Standing there in her wedding gown, smiling from ear to ear beside Benny Blanco, she wasn't just a bride. She was an emblem of survival, grace, and renewal. The way she carried herself, radiant, calm, unguarded, spoke volumes about how far she'd come. Her partner, Benny Blanco, added another layer of emotional depth to the day. His statement, "I married a real-life Disney princess," encapsulated sincerity and playfulness that have always characterized their relationship. His tone was not one of pomp or performance, but of genuine awe and affection. Together, they mirrored a modern fairy tale, one not built on perfection, but on honesty and shared vulnerability. The choice of 3 gowns symbolized different emotional phases of the day, and, in a sense, Gomez's own artistic transformation. The lace halter-neck gown for the ceremony embodied tradition, innocence, and grace. The silk satin halter-neck dress for the formal moments represented maturity and modern femininity, and the shorter reception dress reflected joy, comfort, and liberation. Each transition was more than a change of wardrobe. It was a metamorphosis, echoing her journey from guarded pop star to emotionally grounded woman in love. The presence of high-profile guests, from Taylor Swift to Ed Sheeran, from Martin Short to Cara Delevingne, further deepened the symbolic fabric of the occasion. This wasn't a random guest list. It was a constellation of people who have walked alongside Gomez at various chapters of her life. Their attendance represented her creative universe coming full circle. Musicians, actors, and friends united not for publicity, but for genuine celebration. The room itself, as people reported, was filled with laughter, tears, and a sense of shared triumph. "There was so much love in the room," said a close source. And in the case of Selena Gomez, that love was earned, not manufactured. The wedding also spoke to something larger about the changing language of celebrity culture. In an age dominated by curated perfection and algorithmic validation, Gomez and Blanco's wedding offered something refreshingly human, an event that balanced glamour with groundedness. Their social media posts were restrained, elegant, and emotionally resonant rather than excessive or exploitative. Fans noticed the absence of ostentatious detail, interpreting it as proof that this union was rooted in substance, not spectacle. The aesthetic, soft lighting, natural poses, candid smiles, felt like an intentional rejection of the hyper-filtered, commercialized version of love we often see online. Symbolically, this wedding could be seen as a modern redefinition of the celebrity fairy tale. For decades, pop culture has glamorized love stories that sparkle on the surface but fracture behind the scenes. Selena Gomez's story, however, felt different. It wasn't a glossy illusion but a testament to emotional authenticity, a narrative of a woman who has known pain, chosen healing, and finally found peace in a relationship built on mutual respect. In this sense, Gomez's wedding transcends a category of celebrity news. It becomes a commentary on what it means to love in the age of public scrutiny. Her marriage to Benny Blanco serves as a gentle rebellion against cynicism, an assertion that genuine affection can still exist in an industry often defined by artifice. It tells a generation of fans that love need not be perfect to be meaningful, and that true beauty lies in imperfection, patience, and persistence. From a cultural perspective, her Ralph Lauren gown will likely be remembered as one of the defining bridal moments of this era, not for its extravagance, but for its narrative depth. Future bridal trends may draw from its craftsmanship, subtle symbolism, and emotional authenticity, qualities that modern brides increasingly seek over surface-level opulence. The gown's combination of hand-painted corsetry and personal embroidery may also inspire a broader return to personalization in high fashion, where garments become emotional heirlooms rather than disposable trends. But perhaps the most powerful legacy of Selena Gomez's wedding lies in its quiet sincerity. In an industry that often confuses visibility with value, she and Benny Blanco created something sacred, a space where intimacy thrived despite global attention. The love they displayed was not performative but deeply human, reminding the world that tenderness still matters, that gentleness is still strength, and that vulnerability can still be the most beautiful form of art. Selena's smile, captured beneath that canopy of lace and light, told a story that words could barely hold. It was the smile of someone who has walked through fire and emerged luminous, someone who has faced judgment, heartbreak, illness, and doubt, yet still believes in love. In marrying Benny Blanco, she didn't just find a partner. She found peace. And so, her wedding becomes more than a union between two artists. It becomes a cultural text, a love letter to resilience, to artistic integrity, and to the quiet power of starting anew. For millions who have followed her journey, Selena Gomez's wedding is not just the closing of a chapter, but the dawn of a new one. It reminds us that even after the hardest storms, beauty returns, sometimes hand-stitched in lace, sometimes whispered in vows, always glowing from the heart.